The blind date went wrong before the appetizers arrived. Ethan sat stiffly at the corner table, watching his date scroll through her phone with practiced boredom. She hadn't asked a single question about his work, his life, or the small nervous hope he'd brought with him. The restaurant buzzed around them, but the silence between them felt louder than any noise. That's when the waitress returned with water, and slipped a folded note beside Ethan's plate. "She's not who you think." His pulse jumped. He glanced up. The waitress met his eyes only for a second, long enough to say "trust me," then walked away. Ethan tried to ignore it. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe a mistake. But moments later, his date's phone rang. Her expression changed, sharp, annoyed. She stepped outside to take the call, heels clicking with impatience. The waitress came back. This time, she spoke softly. "I don't usually do this," she said. "But I overheard her bragging at the bar. She's here because her friends dared her to go out with the boring finance guy and get a free meal." Heat rushed to Ethan's face, then something steadier replaced it. Gratitude. "Why tell me?" he asked. She shrugged. "Because you deserve honesty. And because I've been there." When the date returned, Ethan stood. Calmly, kindly, he said he didn't think this was going to work, and wished her well. No drama. No anger. After she left, Ethan stayed. He thanked the waitress, left a generous tip, and asked her name. "Lena," she said, surprised. Weeks later, Ethan returned, this time alone, this time smiling. He brought a small card for Lena. "Your kindness changed my night. Keep being you." Sometimes, the truest connection isn't the one you came looking for, but the one that reminds you of your worth. Ethan didn't expect to see Lena again so soon. 3 days after the disastrous blind date, he stopped by the same restaurant, not out of habit, but curiosity. Something about that quiet honesty in her eyes had stayed with him. He told himself it was just to thank her properly. Still, his heart beat faster when he spotted her near the counter, tying her apron. She looked surprised when she saw him. "Oh, hey," she said, smiling politely. "Everything okay?" "More than okay," Ethan replied. "I realized I never really thanked you. That night, you didn't have to help me." Lena hesitated, then shrugged. "I know how it feels to be made a joke of," she said softly. "I promised myself I'd never stay silent if I could stop it." They talked while the restaurant slowly emptied. Ethan learned Lena worked double shifts to support her younger brother while finishing community college. She learned Ethan wasn't just a finance guy, but someone who volunteered at shelters on weekends, quietly, without telling anyone. When her shift ended, rain poured outside. Without thinking, Ethan offered her a ride. The drive was calm, comfortable, no pretending, no pressure. Just two people sharing stories under streetlights blurred by rain. Before she got out, Lena laughed nervously. "Funny how a bad night can lead to a better one." Ethan smiled. "Maybe it wasn't a disaster," he said. "Maybe it was a redirect." As she walked away, Ethan realized something had shifted inside him. For the first time in a long while, he felt seen, not for what he had, but for who he was. And Lena, watching his car disappear down the street, felt something too: hope. Sometimes kindness doesn't end a bad story. Sometimes, it quietly begins a better one. The next time Ethan came to the restaurant, it wasn't planned. A late meeting had drained him, and without thinking, he found himself parking in the same familiar spot. The warm lights inside felt safe, like a place where people didn't pretend as much. Lena noticed him immediately. "You're becoming a regular," she teased, handing him a menu. "Guess I like the service," he replied, smiling. Their conversations grew longer, more natural. No flirting. No expectations. Just honesty. Ethan learned Lena had once dreamed of becoming a nurse but had put everything on hold after their mother passed away. Lena learned Ethan had built a successful career yet felt strangely invisible in his personal life. One quiet evening, Lena seemed distracted. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Rough day?" Ethan asked gently. She hesitated, then nodded. My brother might lose his scholarship. I don't know how I'll cover his tuition. Without thinking, Ethan said, Let me help. The words hung heavy between them. Lena's expression tightened, not with relief, but fear. I don't want charity, she said quietly. I've spent my whole life being the poor one. I need to stand on my own. Ethan leaned back, giving her space. I'm not trying to fix you, he said. I just believe in helping when we can. Someone once did that for me, without asking for anything back. Lena looked at him, really looked at him. Not as a customer. Not as a wealthy man. But as someone who understood dignity. Later that night, after her shift ended, she found an envelope tucked under a napkin at his table. Inside was a note, not money. No pressure. No expectations. Just support, whenever you're ready. Lena pressed the paper to her chest, fighting tears. She realized then that kindness wasn't about rescuing someone. It was about reminding them they weren't alone. And for the first time in years, Lena let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, she didn't have to carry everything by herself. The restaurant looked different that night. Lena noticed it the moment she walked in, the soft lights, the gentle hum of conversation, the feeling that something was about to change. Her brother's scholarship had been saved, thanks to a mentorship program Ethan helped connect them to. No shortcuts. No handouts. Just opportunity. Ethan arrived later than usual. When he stepped inside, Lena felt a calm confidence replace the fear she once carried. She wasn't waiting to be rescued anymore. She was standing tall, because someone had believed in her when she needed it most. Before approaching his table, Lena slipped a folded note onto his place setting. You were right. Kindness doesn't take away strength. It gives it room to grow. Ethan read it slowly, then looked up as Lena stood beside him, not as a waitress, but as a woman who had found her footing. They talked that night as equals. About dreams. About mistakes. About how life sometimes sends the wrong people to test us, so we can recognize the right ones when they arrive. As Ethan left, he paused at the door. Funny thing, he said. I came here once for a blind date. Thought it was a disaster. Lena smiled. Maybe it was, she replied. Just not for the reasons you thought. Outside, the city moved on, busy, unaware of the quiet miracle that had happened inside those walls. No grand romance. No dramatic declarations. Just two lives changed by a single honest moment. Sometimes the most important notes aren't warnings. They're invitations, to trust, to grow, and to see the humanity in each other. And long after the blind date was forgotten, the kindness remained. Writing a better story than either of them had planned.